Hello, everyone, and welcome to the God, Government, and Goals podcast. I'm your host, Jace Jamison, and I'm looking forward to posting a wide variety of content for you in the foreseeable future. Before we start, I'd like to ask you to please like and subscribe, and to please leave a comment to voice your opinions. In this video, I'll be talking about a little bit about me, what you'll be hearing on this podcast, and a little bio about me too. So to start off with, I am Jace Isaac Jamison, and I was born on June 12th, 2011, to some parents that I'm very proud to call my parents, since they raised me in the Christian faith, and they themselves were raised in the Christian faith too. They are great parents to me, and they've really taught me a lot. And I was raised in Oklahoma for about 12 years of my life and such. And there I was able to make the most important decision, I think, in my opinion, in my life. Giving my life to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And also getting baptized in obedience to His command. But I gotta be honest with y'all right quick, I really didn't show the faith often. Other than church and such, and maybe on a few very, very rare instances would I even care a little bit or even think about it. As a kid, and other than church, I basically didn't even think about or mention anything related to God or anything. But little did I know, in a few years, my life would totally change. And because right before, like in my last few months in Oklahoma, my father, Joe, was applying to be the ministries pastor, basically the number two to a pastor who was already there. Now the church hadn't been launched yet, but they were still in the process of probably getting things renovated and such. And he was in the process of doing that, and so there's a possibility, we may have to pack up our stuff and moved to Michigan. And sure enough, not only a few days after Christmas, but a few days after I receiving surgery on my right leg to make it equal length, because I have this thing called hemihypertrophy where it's one leg's longer than the other. So a few days after that, I actually remember this for some reason. I was in a Brahms drive-thru getting some food when my father received a call from the head pastor there, Pastor Greg Smith, who's become a great friend to me and my family. And he called on my father, and he told him that he had the job. So I guess that meant in a few weeks we would be packing up our bags and moving to the Midwest. That's what did you say? That don't mean I was gonna say something like, "Oh, what are you doing there, pal?" But yeah. So I only had a few weeks left before I moved to Oklahoma, and a few days after my last day of school, and that should have been my fourth to last, but since there were 3 snow days, I wasn't able to get back to school. So that last Friday before I moved was my last day, and then we had moved to Michigan on the 18th, and if you could barely see, there's some lights back there, and that's my school back there, the school I attend. It's very close and it's very great, but I won't be there for long. I'll only be there for a few months before I have to go off to high school. I'll be a freshman, and so looking forward to that. But I'm getting off topic a little bit here. And then I remember one day after I come home from school, I started getting these weird thoughts, these weird bad thoughts in my head. And I really didn't know what to do. I was limiting myself to what I could do and such. Then all of a sudden I started finding myself reading the Bible. And from there, just things changed for me. I felt like I'd become so much closer to God. He's brought me closer to Him. I didn't realize that this move to Michigan would change me. I had no idea. But it was in the Lord's will, and I'd say he did a great job. And he's still doing a great job for me, and I'm certain he's doing the same for you. So after that, it just took off, and I still have this mental sin is still in me, but but I but I feel closer to God, and yes, I do have days where I don't read my Bible or I don't read it as often or talk to Him, but I hope to do better with that, and especially with this podcast because you could see in the name it's the God, Government, and Goals podcast. So I bet you we'll be doing a lot of Bible study here, and I'll just go ahead and talk about what we'll be talking about in this podcast. So the first thing, obviously, we'll be talking about is God, and I'll be sharing things from like my faith, all the great things the Lord has done for me in my life, things about the Bible, which does include Bible studies, Bible readings, and we'll also be talking about some theology matters. And there will be more. Yes, there probably will be more, but those were the things that I could just think of and such. And this applies to all the things we'll be talking about. And the next thing we'll be talking about is government. I'll be discussing more moral and political things going on. I'll also be discussing my political beliefs, which I plan on sharing later. And we'll also be talking about the officials and lawmakers who run the government. And up next, we'll be talking about sports. And specifically, I got a couple teams here I like. I like the Rangers. We'll be talking about the Rangers, the Steelers, the Penguins/Pens, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Oklahoma State University men's basketball and football. However, I'm not going to limit it to just that. I will be talking about some major sports events and trades and anything else that I could think of. Well, those are some of the things that we'll be talking about in the sports category. The next thing we'll be talking about is the United States itself, the flag, why I'm blessed to live there, and any other major events that are happening within the U.S. As you can see here, my logo is definitely very patriotic. And so now I'm gonna share a little bit more about me. I did mention my full name was Jace Jamison. I was raised in Oklahoma for about 12 years of my life, and I've been living here in Michigan for over a year now. And I am a conservative. I am a Republican. However, that does not mean that this is just for Republicans. This is for everybody. I'm just sharing what I believe on it, and that's why I'm asking you to leave a comment to share your opinions, because you can disagree with me if you want. We're gonna disagree, and that's okay. But the only thing I ask if you want to leave your opinion is that you just be respectful, and don't insult people. I don't want that. And if you want to criticize me, you go right ahead. I will not mind the criticism. And and your political beliefs don't change the way I feel about you. Unless you're the devil or himself, I will not hate you. I will want to be your friend. I will try to tell you the truth, but I will try to make sure it's in a very loving and kind way. Hey. And I'm not saying that I'm gonna force you to agree with me. I want you to agree with me, yes, but I'm not gonna force you to do it. And we could still disagree and still be friends. Like, we could still disagree and be friends. And hey, you know what? I'd still love you, even if you didn't necessarily love me. I'm going to do the same. I would treat you better. And so, I'm very much looking forward to posting content on this every day, or at least when I can. And maybe, who knows, in the foreseeable future, or this could become a great podcast and gain a lot of traction. But for right now, we're just going to focus on posting content, because we're in the very, very early stages. It's like with compound interest. I remember a guy named Mark Tilbury just told me today on a YouTube video, Compound interest, it starts off slow, but once it gains traction, it's impossible to stop. And and hopefully, only I can gain enough of traction that it'll be impossible to bring me down, or whatever. But anywho, thank you for tuning into this video. And once again, I'd like to ask you to please like and subscribe and leave a comment to voice your opinions. That's all. Have a